Now I'm part of Concord Records, which is also fantastic. And my first project happened to be Jane Monheit.
That's so cute.
And
so pretty. This is my favorite thing on the record, I think. This and Overture. Jane Monheit from New York. Singer, musician, recently signed with Concord. Very happy about it. That's me. So I started playing gigs professionally when I was 16. I actually never had another job. I tried really hard to get one, but nobody would hire me, not even the Gap. Must have been like destiny or something. And I moved to the city when I was 17 to go to Manhattan School of Music, New York City that is, and just really started playing a lot of gigs around town, and it just started kind of snowballing. You know, I got involved with the jazz community, and then I did the Thelonious Monk competition. I was vocals in 1998, and I came in second to the late, great Terry Thornton, and that was it. Signed my first record deal, you know, started recording, and now 6 records down the line, here I am. So that was great, and Peter Eldridge was my voice teacher, actually the only voice teacher I ever had, and just learned a lot from him, and we're still great friends, and actually I'm recording one of his compositions on this new album for the first time. Well, the song of Peter's is called Surrender, and it's sort of like a sexy R&B type of thing in 3/4 time, and really came out nicely. You know, my regular band plays on the album, the entire album, and they really nailed that one, and it really sounds nice. It's a very romantic, very sexy too. Well, I've listened to Brazilian music my whole life. You know, grew up on the classic Jobim and all that, and you know, since I started performing, I've always included a lot of bossa nova in my shows, and I've always recorded a lot of bossa nova too. I mean, there's, you know, at least something on every album. And you know, we've begun to travel quite a lot in Brazil over the last few years. We tour there a lot, and I've worked with so many of the great Brazilian musicians, you know, from Ivan Lins and, you know, Paulo Braga and to Nomero Bambo, and you know, just the greatest people. I've learned so much from them, and it's become this huge part of my life. I mean, Brazilian music right now is really the closest thing to my heart, and so, you know, I sing in Portuguese, and my band has studied the music so much as well, and we really focus on trying to do the most authentic versions of these tunes as we can, you know, rather than playing, you know, Americanized jazz versions of the tunes. You know, I don't really like to do that. I don't like to sing the translations that are incorrect. I like to really do justice to the music as much as I can, and so that was a big part of this album.
well, I'm George Calandrelli. I'm the producer, arranger of this album, and I'm delighted because this happens to be actually my first Concord production, and it happens to be with Jane Monheit, which is somebody that I always wanted to work with. But it just happened that he says, no, we want an album of ballads and bossas, super romantic, gorgeous, and that's the kind of album that I've always wanted to hear, especially when I heard Jane Monheit's albums. I would say, how beautiful would it be to just put an album, relax, and from beginning to end, to the end, just listen to the music, you know, and be taken somewhere else. Other tunes that we've done, Moon River, an incredible version of Moon River, in which Jane sings completely free, without a rhythm section, just piano and her voice, and has a string arrangement that follows all her nuances behind, for which I am responsible. And that was
another duet, Alfie by Burt Bacharach. Absolutely gorgeous piece of music, just stunning. And that's a duet with my pianist Michael Kanan. And then there's a duet with my guitarist Mazo Kazaki of a beautiful song called The Shining Sea. It's by Johnny Mandel with an amazing lyric by Peggy Lee, and it's perhaps one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my life. And we really tried to paint a picture with it. You know, I tend to think in a very visual way of songs when I'm conceiving the way I want them to be, and this is definitely, you know, by the seaside. And
If You Went Away, it's a beautiful Brazilian song, but she's doing a version with a rhythm of samba canção, which is like a Brazilian ballad, but she's singing with a lyric version, English lyrics. Her pronunciation in Brazil is so perfect. That's another amazing thing. I mean, the
Wow.
way you sing Caminos Cruzados, eso tiene de ser con você, right? Gorgeous. And Brazilians love that, so we really think that one of those tunes could be a big hit in Brazil,
I
too.
certainly hope so.
Oh, absolutely. And I would love to sell a couple of million records at least.
Wouldn't that be nice? Let me think what else we had. Another Jobim tune in Portuguese called Solia de Ser Com Você. Very sexy bossa nova. Very fun. A cover of Stevie Wonder's Overjoyed is a bossa nova, which is lovely. And then we have several ballads with gorgeous string arrangements. Two by Vince Mendoza, Pure Imagination, Anthony Newley from Willy Wonka. And The Summer Knows, a really beautiful Michel Legrand tune. Never thought of it that way. I mean, it's certainly a very romantic record. It's incredibly romantic, and in every sort of way. There's every type of romantic message involved. There's the saddest things you can possibly imagine, and the most, warm, hopeful things. I mean, this album's definitely coming from a place where, I'm an extremely happily married woman. You know what I mean? And I know so much about love and all of that now, and I can imagine so much about some of the horrendous loss that I'm also singing about on the album, just because, being that in love, it's not too hard to extrapolate to a place where you can imagine how you would feel if it were gone.
I'm actually proud of this for once. Like most things I record, I really don't ever want to hear it at all. And this, I can actually sit and listen to it and not sweat. So that's a good thing. I think just provide a good feeling, just a nice bed for her to sing over. You know what I mean? I think this is the first record that really has a real continuity from beginning to end. It's like you can just put it on and leave it on. You're not like jumping around, and there aren't many spikes in tempo and vibe and stuff. It's just like has this real elastic, nice, consistent feel. We're just a bunch of bad dudes, really. I mean, it's kind of true.
And just
Everybody really delivered on this record.
to a degree where, I would listen back to the tracks after we were finished in the studio and just be so proud of them and just want to go running to Brooklyn and Queens where they all live and just hug them all. It's just been amazing. We've got some really wonderful people out there, and we're really grateful for it. It's amazing to travel to a place where you've never been and hear all these people that already know you, and we feel lucky.